Rappin with ReefBum is sponsored by Polo Reef, Champion Lighting and Supply, and GHL. Hey, what's happening, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of Rappin with ReefBum. I'm your host, Keith Berkelhamer. So on today's live stream, I have the pleasure of welcoming back Dong Zou to the show from AcroGarden. What's going on there, Dong?
Oh, very good. Very busy, actually.
Very busy, huh? Yeah.
But it's great to back on your show. I really enjoy it.
I always enjoy these conversations, Dong. I always learn a lot, and I think everybody
Oh,
out there does as well. It's always a
yeah, we
treat.
learn from each other. Yeah, we just do it. It's a hobby. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the hobby.
Yeah, for sure. For those that don't know, Dong, he has a PhD in chemistry and worked for several pharmaceutical companies in various therapeutic areas, including anti-inflammatory, cancer, pain management, and anti-infectious diseases. He developed his first interest in marine invertebrates when he was working as a postdoc at the University of Virginia. He has been in the aquarium hobby since he was in college, and he got into the saltwater hobby in 2004 after setting up his first marine fish tank for a Nemo, and after he discovered the Boston Reefers Society. Let's go Boston Reefers Society. About 11 years ago, would you say you co-founded your first company on drug discovery? Was that about 11 years ago?
Oh my goodness, yeah, that is a long time ago. Actually, at that time, the company was focused on HIV.
Wow.
And yeah, a monoclonal antibody of HIV. It doesn't go anywhere.
Well, soon after he did that, he was able to combine his passion for coral and his experience in the pharmaceutical industry and co-founded a new company, eCove BioMarine. This company focused on aquaculture, coral for drug discovery, and bone grafting. His current company, AcroGarden Inc, was then founded to hold the intellectual properties and to study coral farming. AcroGarden is now Dong's primary focus. The company produces aquaculture coral, mainly SPS for the hobby. And if you are ever in the general vicinity of Boston area there, you got to look up Dong because he's got some great frags, both LPS, but really you specialize in SPS. So
right now I have tons of everything.
yeah.
Tons of it. I'm running out of room.
Uh-oh. You heard it, folks. Get the Dongs. He's got a lot of stuff to move. All right, so before we start chatting with Dong, I want to take care of some business and thank the sponsors of this show. My sponsors are really important because they make this show possible with their support, and that means a lot since I want to continue to bring on awesome guests to help foster a learning environment on the show. Polar Reef. Make sure to check out Polar Reef's new YouTube video that drops this Friday. Imagine this, a 900-gallon glass drop-down aquarium that arrived broken, and now the second one finally made it home safely. It's finally in place. Watch as it's time to aquascape and fill it. Make sure to subscribe to their YouTube channel at Polar Reef for video drop notifications. Champion Lighting and Supply. Besides being a place for hobbyists to purchase saltwater aquarium supplies online, Champion Lighting is also a wholesale distributor for many popular brands. If you own an aquarium store or an aquarium service company, contact Champion Lighting through their website at championlighting.com to set up a wholesale account. Todd and his crew will be at the Aquatic Expo in Charlotte, North Carolina this weekend. Stop by the booth and say hi. And my third sponsor, GHL. Personally, I'm all in on using GHL products. I have a lot of success using their dosers, controllers, meters, lights, cage directors, etc. They produce high-quality German-engineered products. For more information or to purchase their stuff, you can visit aquariumcomputer.com/USA. I also sell their products on reefbum.com. Right now, there is a 15% sale on everything, and that's going to be good through 5/31, May 31st. All right, Dong, with all that out of the way, let's get down to some business here. And you passed along some topics that you wanted to talk about, and the top of that list was the battery backup options on the market today. And the floor is yours there, Dong, but you have some issues with the battery backups, correct?
Oh yeah, actually there is several type of battery backup for this hobby. And for example, like the Ecotech Marine makes one, and Coral Box has one, Ice Cap has one. So all of them, the price around 140 to 200 something dollar range. those battery backup, actually at the beginning, back several years ago, I thought they were lithium-ion battery because that you're paying for so much money for them, and they better be something that is great, right? No, they're not. The lead acid battery, the same thing as your old 20 years old beat up Chevy Malibu, that kind of thing. But well, the Malibu battery probably better than this. Um, so for the lead acid battery, it has several important things to be aware of. First of all, that if it goes through one or two deep discharge, and basically we ruin the battery.
So, say that
yeah,
again. So if it's going through a charge, it could ruin the battery.
no, discharge. That means you run
Discharge.
them dry.
Discharge.
Yeah, discharge. So, but that actually makes a really interesting point is that why use this type of battery? Because that if think about the scenario is that if you lose power, hopefully it's just 20 seconds or 30 seconds. No, many times you are hoping for the battery can power your equipment for at least like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour or two or something like that,
Yeah.
at least for return pump. But that will definitely drain the battery to dry. So lead acid battery has this problem is that when it's going through this kind of discharge, especially very deep discharge, and then you basically will ruin the battery itself. Unless you buy those the called the deep cycle marine battery,
Yep.
they build differently and they're more expensive and pretty bulky. I don't think any of these battery backup company are using a deep cycle marine battery. No, they're not. So another drawback of this kind of battery is that it has a very short lifespan, which what I'm saying is that it's about 1 year, 2 years. Even you don't do anything to it, it dies. For example, that we recently have a very short power outage because that our electric grid, they need to repair something. And I still have two this Coral Box reef tank battery, the backup battery. They're powering the two of the return pump. They did not kick on at all. And they're, well, even though they're less than 2 years old, they're never being discharged at all. It just doesn't work. And one of them actually even expanded, it bulged up. So
Really?
yeah, yes. But then I also have other battery. Of course, that I am aware of this kind of situation about, but I didn't. I'm surprised that even the battery is less than 2 years old. It didn't kick on. But I'm aware of this kind of situation way back. So that's why I have my own battery backup system, which is inexpensive and it works quite well. I have been using that for 2 years. So I'm the type of person, I only trust the thing that has been around for a while, that I have been used for a while, that has been tested. Okay, here, let me show you something. I brought a prop.
So you're saying that basically the batteries that Ecotech, IceCap, and Coral Box are using, you're saying they're all similar products. They're all using the lead acid batteries, which drain pretty easily, discharge pretty easily, and if you're hoping to like have it kick on after a couple of years of not using it, it might not kick on.
Oh, it may not kick on. Actually, some of them just did not kick on. So you go then basically recycle them.
Paperweight.
That is, paperweight. That is basically is based on the technology. That's what people should expect it. So that's why I have this. So this is an APC, very old battery backup. And the unit itself is made in 2004.
I've got one of those for my computer.
Oh, yes, this is a computer battery backup.
Yeah.
Nothing more than that, just a plain old computer battery backup. The good thing about, and actually the important thing about battery backup is that the battery need to be kicked on as soon as the power is lost, with or without the human sitting in the room. For example, you can have a very fancy, gigantic deep cycle battery, marine battery sitting on your bench. But the thing is that you have to manually kick them on to connect it. And you have a generator, unless your generator is pretty fancy, automatically kick on. And then you still have to kickstart it. And this battery will buy you some time. So the first important thing is that it has to be able to automatically kick on. That's the important thing. That's what this computer battery fit the bill is designed to automatically kick on. But the problem of this kind of battery is a lead acid battery inside when you buy it brand new. Even when you buy it brand new today, and I just went to Costco today and I looked at their the cyber power battery backup.
Yeah.
It's approximately about $130, and it's twice the size of this baby. You last twice as long, but you still have the lead acid battery inside. So, but to solve that lead acid battery problem, this is something that I've been using. So for 20 years old UPS, the battery is long gone. So yank them out, recycle it, gone. Now that is from Amazon. So that is a lithium iron phosphate battery. It's designed to replace the lead acid battery inside the computer battery backup.
So you
it's
can
very important.
So you can jury rig the APC battery backup by taking out the lead acid battery and putting in the lithium iron phosphate battery.
Actually, it's not really rigged. It's designed to do that.
So why do they ship them with the lead acid battery?
Oh, because it's cheap. Lead acid battery is ultra cheap. For example, a lead acid battery for replacement battery, one of them is cost you about $9, $9 to $10. This is a $35 deal.
Yeah.
So that is the reason that's why all these computer backup company, for the inexpensive battery backup for your computer, is lead acid battery in there. Of course, you can buy the lithium iron phosphate version of those, but that will run you to about $500-600.
Oh wow!
Oh, yeah. Also, but also they're very big too. So those are the pretty bulky, gigantic. It's not like buying a small battery for several $100 but same capacity. No, the model they offer that containing lithium iron battery are the big boys. The one that basically like a little generator. That's why it costs $500-600, but they're really big.
So
they last you for a long time.
So we got some comments from the viewers here. NSB Reef says Harbor Freight sells a cheaper load tester if you're curious about your battery health. So I guess you could test your battery by using the load tester. Shallow Reefing had a 2-hour power outage with the storms, and my 3-year-old ice cap battery backup did not kick on. I've done tests in the past where it worked, but now it's not working anymore. Rob upstate New York is asking, Keith, what about a brand new, never been opened battery backup lifespan? I received one for Christmas and don't use Vortec pumps, plus I have a generator. But yeah, what about that, Dong, if you've never opened up your battery backup?
I think that a brand new battery backup probably still okay.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's my guess, because I do have the replacement battery, but it's lead acid. Have been sitting around for years.
Yeah.
I did test that. It works. The first time it's being energized, and then it works. But I don't know what the long-term consequence of that. But the lithium-ion battery, 4,000 cycle up and down. You can join them to the bone dry, fill it back up, 4,000 cycles, and 10 years lifespan.
Wow.
Yeah, but so far I tested them for 2 years. 2 years good enough for a $35 battery, right? So, so for the larger APC or the cyber power battery backup, they will have 2 of this inside. So basically, what I'm using on this reef tank are the bigger boys. They always have 2 of this lithium-ion battery inside those case. So basically, you can get those APC or cyber power battery on eBay, Craigslist, basically for nothing. Because when the battery inside die, people just toss them out. Then, well, if they toss them out, please give it to me. So I just go there and swap in the lithium iron battery, and then it works great. Actually, this is a lithium iron phosphate battery. So that is much safer than just the lithium battery itself in terms of fire risk. And there is another question people normally ask, is that how about the charging of this battery? Is it safe to have this battery in the APC? Because APC was designed to charge the lead acid battery.
Yep.
So do you need special? No, it doesn't, because this thing has the internal circuit. So they have the internal circuit to monitor the charge, to control the charge. They were designed to be all inside APC. That means that you have to look through the description when you buy this from Amazon to make sure these things actually are designed to replace your APC or cyber power, the battery backup, the lead acid battery with this. Some of them doesn't. Some of them doesn't have the control circuits, and that is a fire hazard. So,
oh yeah, so you better make sure you got that option.
Make sure. Yep.
Reef Keeper is saying just get an EcoFlow River 2. I'm not familiar with that. Are you, Dong?
I'm not familiar with that too.
Yeah.
What exactly is it?
Yeah, if somebody can put that in the chat, exactly what the EcoFlow River 2 is.
So if they use lithium iron phosphate battery, they will say that. So I think that if a battery backup is using the lithium iron phosphate battery, I think that it should be perfectly fine, just not the lead acid battery.
Right.
If they didn't tell you anything, most likely that is not a lithium iron phosphate battery. And another important thing is that don't buy this replacement battery on Temu or AliExpress, those kind of places. You never know what exactly you get. So it's not risk. It's not worth the risk for several bucks difference.
So Reef Keeper said, I had an 8-hour power outage just the other day. My EcoFlow River 2 powered a Tunzi on one tank, and my second River 2 powered a Nero 3. Both batteries had tons of capacity left after 8 hours. He's saying the EcoFlow River 2 is a lithium iron phosphate battery, I think.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's definitely a much better choice. Another thing about the battery backup is that the only device, if you have a sump, the return pump is the only device that you need to put on the battery backup, because that keeps the whole system alive.
Is that what you do?
No, that's what I do. I don't even put my power head on the battery backup. It's not necessary. As long as the return pump is flowing, you keep the sump happy, alive, and then you keep the tank alive. And the rest of them is just not that essential. Well, if you have in a deep winter and you need a lot of power, the battery backup will buy you maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes to pull out your generator and kick it start and start using that. Because the battery backup are not meant to be for you to keep the reef tank alive for days. No, that's not.
Right.
That's actually designed for just give you enough time to pull out the big gun.
Rich Colombo is saying the same thing. EcoFlow River 2 is great. It's a lithium-ion battery. So yeah, sounds like that is an option people are very pleased with. It's got a 256 watt capacity for $170. What?
Wow, that's expensive.
It is expensive, it seems like.
Well, then the thing is that if you go to Costco and spend $130 and buy a battery that twice as capacity, and then of this, I look at the Costco's battery is 850 volt amp hour. That's pretty big. It's not 240, it's 850. And then you can swap two of this battery. They cost you probably about $70 for a pair. So you're talking about $200.
Yeah.
And you got about probably several times more better capacity. And the important thing is that you can hook up your AC pump on this battery backup. It's not limited to DC pump. So for example, like the Coral Box or Ecotech battery and their DC battery, and they only work on DC pumps. But when you have this computer power supply, you can hook up anything you want. Even if you want to hook up your LED, yeah, I think that works too.
Really?
No, yeah, definitely. Like AI Prime, 56 watts, and then if you need to, and you still can hook that up. But a heater, you're going to drain the battery really quick. That's probably not going to work.
Yeah, you don't want to have that happen in the wintertime.
Yeah. Exactly. So that means that the battery backup is only for buy you enough time for you to pull out the big guns, the generator, that kind of thing. I do have Yeah,
I was going
go
to ask
ahead.
you what are your big guns? What do you have for the longer power outages?
I have a gas generator. I also have a lithium iron power station. Of course, about $1,500. And the good thing is that that thing has replaceable battery pack, which means that you can charge the battery pack, and then the power station I have has 4 battery pack, 4 slots. So they will drain one battery first, and then then you can pull out the other battery to charge it outside. For example, in winter time, and then you cannot run your generator indoor. So then you don't want to open the door to get the wire come in with the winter cold coming in either. So
Yeah.
one time back in 2018, that's what I did is that I used the gas generator to charge the battery and then to power the lithium iron power station inside in here.
Yep.
And the interesting thing is that before that one battery being drained down, I have another battery already fully charged and waiting. So that power outage in 2018 lasted probably about half days. So you basically the tree is down, that kind of thing, and that's how I use the gas generator to charge the battery and then bring the battery inside and then using that to power all the system.
So what are you running when you're running these the generator and the other thing you were talking about? Are you pretty much running everything once you're on that using the big guns? Lights,
Actually,
pumps?
all the pumps, just not the light.
No, you're not running lights?
No, I don't running light because at that time, well, there's no reason to run light because that coral can be without light for like several days, no problem, nothing happened to it. So you can have a blackout for a day or two. There's absolutely no problem. There's no reason to run light at all. So that's why I don't see the need to run the light.
So
yeah,
the longest power outage you've ever had has just been half a day?
probably less than half a day because
yeah.
that our town is really good. We have the power station. Actually, there's a power plant from the inside the town. We have underground wire. Yeah, we're paying for that underground electric wire. That makes it a lot better. What I'm trying to say, yeah, and right now I have another big gun. It's called my Jeep Wrangler 4xe.
Yeah, you're right. You run the car. Yeah.
Exactly. The 2024 model, the one my wife drives, and actually it has a power conversion box. You can use that car to power your house.
Yep.
Yeah, that battery inside the Jeep is humongous.
Yeah.
When you compare to any of this, these are just babies.
Yeah.
That battery, oh my God, that is the good thing about the 2024 model. It gives you this option that basically there's it's like a power adapter, that kind of thing, plug into the power port, the charging port, and instead of putting electricity inside your Jeep, you're actually pumping it out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sturgis Reef is asking you, how long can you go without light for SPS? I personally, after 3 days, I think that you start kind of getting a little, it could get a little dicey after 3 days. But I agree with you, Dong. I think if you do a blackout, if you have a blacked out for 2 or 3 days, 1 day, whatever it is, you should be fine. I once did a 3-day blackout years and years ago to deal with like an algae issue, and the only thing I lost in that tank that had a lot of SPS was black maxima clam, which I never have luck with anyway.
Huh. I think that probably is not related to the light.
Yeah, so I agree with you because I've had many of those black maxima clams and can never keep them alive.
Oh yeah, some of the clams just hard to keep.
Yeah.
And they have the pinch mantle disease.
Yeah.
And yes, yeah.
But my backup powder, I just go right to the big guns there, Dong. I have I've got a full house backup generator, so everything kicks right on once the power goes out. Sometimes even the lights. So sometimes there might be a circuit that might get thrown or something like that I have to deal with. But I also, just in case, have a portable propane generator in case the full house backup generator fails. So that's kind of
Wow.
my backup situation. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
Because
great.
I've had a full,
Yeah.
I've had a full house backup generator fail on me before, and that's not a good
Oh,
thing.
really?
Yeah, that was back when I used to live in Connecticut.
Ah.
Yeah.
There's another thing about that, because that I have a lot of frac tanks. For frac tank, that means there's a huge amount of surface area. So, well, even the pump is not running, and then the fish and coral still survive for totally without power for a while, because that the large surface area for area exchange. So, but that is only unique to well, my little coral farm because of the frac tanks.
Yeah. Just looking at some more of these comments. Donald Smith, EcoFlow River also can be charged by solar or vehicle. Just bought one. Interesting.
Actually, most of them, yeah, you can do that. Yeah. Uh, well, the solar probably is very slow. That's one important thing. I haven't found a solution that can sufficiently charge the battery with solar uh, after the battery is drained down. So the vehicle probably is a good way to do it, provided your vehicle has well, well, I will not. Here's the thing, I will not use the 12-volt battery inside the vehicle to charge another battery. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't have enough juice. If you have a hybrid or you have an electric vehicle, yes. And well, if you have keep your engine running, and then you have 12. Well, what's that? 110-volt outlet in your vehicle, and probably that works too. And charging a battery using the cigarette lighter in your car with your engine running, I don't think it works very well either.
I'll say one thing about my my portable generator. I mentioned it's propane. I think that you don't see a lot of portable propane generators. You see a lot of gas-powered generators. And the thing I'm going to say about propane is that you can run one of those things for days if you have it in line with a propane tank. So I've got a 100 gallon propane tank that my portable propane generator can be hooked into. So that obviously with a portable generator, you gotta pull the ripcord on it to start it, but that can go for like 3, maybe 4 days or something like that, which is great.
Wow. Yep.
And it's clean too, right? It's propane.
Oh yeah.
It's not gas powered. So obviously it'll cost a little money to get that hook up to the propane. But I've got like some valves and whatnot that I could turn to get it in line when I want to. I just it's got like a little hose attachment or something like that to it. So it's great. And if you can't afford the full house backup generator, then a portable propane generator I think is a great option, because if you're out for a couple of days, you don't have to sit there and worry about the gas tank running out and refilling it, right?
Yes, indeed. Yep.
And it's clean energy.
Also, the propane require very little maintenance.
Right.
It's very clean. The reason I know is that my whole house is on propane.
Oh, there you go. So
Yeah.
you should get a portable propane generator there, Dong. Then you can
That
just hook.
That is an idea, but then we live in a town that we pay so much tax, and then that's why we have a very good power plant in there. So well, so far so good. But I live in Concord for how long? 25 years now. Yeah, that's the 2018 is the longest the power outage.
Hey,
Normally,
climate change,
like
you never
30
know
minutes.
there, Dong.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Reefkeeper makes a good point. He says, great point, Keith. Sometimes during bad weather or natural disasters, gasoline may not be available. And that actually happened during Superstorm Sandy. Gasoline was hard to come by.
Yep.
I remember that.
Yep.
So keep that in mind.
Maybe the Tesla war. And anybody try it? the Tesla in home big battery,
Oh
that
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's an
I think
idea
that
too.
probably is an option. Yeah.
So, Don, did you also want to talk about DC versus AC return pumps just in
Oh,
general? Just because you
yeah.
talked about DC versus AC, and you wanted to debunk that idea that AC battery backup is a much shorter lifespan than DC battery backup. But you also wanted to make a point, right, about DC versus AC pumps,
Okay.
benefit and
Yep.
drawbacks.
So that there is people were talking about the AC battery backup have to convert DC into AC, and then AC go to the pump and convert back to DC, that kind of thing. There's a lot of loss over there, but actually the loss is really not that big. Is more like 15%. But even with the 15% loss of the power, but allow you to plug in all the AC, that is priceless. It's not limited to your the DC only, but this thing allow you to plug all the AC thing the device there. It's really not that significant if you talk about 15% of a difference there, and then you are not locked into a certain type of pump, return pump that you have to buy for your power backup. This runs everything. So anything, regardless that what kind of return pump, this thing will power it. That's a good thing. But I do recommend people to buy DC return pump. There are several benefits about that. The first benefit is that for DC return pump, all of them, uh, when they lost power and then when they restart, they always have a slow restart function. For example, that if you have like say 1 hour power outage, then your return pump is stopped, right? Then your some snail or some critter just crawl into that chamber
Yeah.
of the propeller. And on the AC pump, boom, and you got some sushi or whatever, sashimi, that kind of thing, immediately. You have a fish in your thumb, and that can be the case. But the DC pump, they always have a slow start, and that will drive out the critters that crawl into the cage. That's a good thing. The second thing is that I always worry about to have 110-volt wire go straight to in the salt water. So I have seen so many of these AC power head that die, and they basically I saw one of the Italian make AC power head, but not in my tank, in somebody else tank.
Yeah.
It started bubble coming out, and then so that's why that the for the DC pump, actually all my pumps except the calcium reactor feed pump, they're all DC. The reason for that is 24-volt. So if it leaks, so what? I can use the scissor to cut the cord, put them in there, 24-volt. Doesn't matter. So that is a good thing. And also it won't kill you. For the reef keeper won't get damaged.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's why that, and also that the DC pump lasts for significantly long time. Even though our triple J-bow, I use all our triple J-bow pump, and they last for so many years for the return pump. For example, I have one back 2010. It's still kicking and running,
Really?
and they just last for a very long time.
If you do the maintenance, right?
No.
You don't do the maintenance, Don?
No, I don't do maintenance on my return
Come
pump.
on, Don.
But
You got to do the maintenance.
no, the thing is that there's nothing to maintain. It's not like the power head for some reason, because that return pump are sitting in the dark. They do not calcify on it as easily. So it's not like the power head in the tank. I immediately encrusted with coral and algae, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. I found my return pump is very clean.
Huh.
I put occasionally I pull them out to look at them. There's nothing to clean.
All right. Well, as long as you're
Seriously.
checking them out.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I take them out and look at them. But there's nothing to clean to put them back.
Rob, upstate New York, thank you so much, my friend, for that very generous super chat. Always enjoy these these streams. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, you know, I every 3 months I do maintenance on my return pumps, and there's not, you know, granted, there's not a lot to clean, but I soak them in vinegar, you know, water solution for like a half an hour, and I'll scrub. There's like some minor debris that's in there and gunk and all that stuff, but that, that's just something that I do. I hate to do it, but I do it.
But I do clean my power head though. That's
You
almost
gotta
once
you
a
gotta
month.
clean the power heads.
Oh my God, those things just so become crusty so fast.
Well, so what? I'm gonna show some video of Dong's. So we're gonna talk about large standing wave with low linear flow for your LPS tank here. It is we've seen this before, Dong. It's like a washing machine in there.
Yeah. One of the reasons for that, for LPS, especially torch hammer frog spawn, they really don't like a very strong linear flow. And but when you generate a standing wave, it's like washing machine. But then the thing is that the water is going up and down instead of being blown to left and right. Those kind of situation. So you can see that Garnier love it, Torch love it. They give you the waving movement, but they don't stress them out. But for SPS, it's a different story. SPS, not only you need a standing wave, you also need a linear wave. You need both. But for LPS, the standing wave actually makes, I think, is the best scenario. They don't stress out. They grow really well. The polyp extend very nicely under standing wave, and especially they give you the movement that you want. The reason you want a torch coral is because you want to see the waving in your tank. You want a Garni. Well, that's your Garni anyway.
Oh, was that my Garni?
Yeah, that's your Garni.
Oh, it looks very happy.
The thing grows grow a lot actually.
It's
Right now,
aggressive.
The thing,
It's aggressive grower, yeah.
Oh yeah. And now I cannot even frag it because it doesn't fit through any frag saw.
It doesn't fit through a frag saw.
No, it doesn't. So it stays. I've been looking at it. I love it. I
want to look at that again, Dong. I got to look at that again. There, that is a beautiful piece. Did I save?
Oh, you did.
I did. I do still have that coral. I fragged that thing a ton. But oh yeah, there it is. That's a beauty. Yeah.
That's why I like for the LPS tank, and the standing wave actually is really important and also beneficial. So to generate that wave is actually very simple.
I was going to ask you how you do that.
Yeah, that is an 80-gallon tank, which is 48-inch times 24-inch and 16-inch tall. So it's 80-gallon tank. The only power head in there is a Jabo cross flow. Is a gyre. Jabo version of gyre is the model 150. It pumps approximately, well, on the label on the box, it said about 4,500 gallon per hour, that kind of thing. It's pretty big. So I put it on a short pulse mode, and then so to generate this kind of wave, this washing machine, actually all you need is a powerful power head. So for 80-gallon tank, you probably need about 4,000 to 5,000 rated flow rate power head. You can use a round one. Hold on. And then a Jabo. That's a Jabo's OW50, that kind of thing. You generate about 4,000 gallon per hour. Okay.
And that's good also because it's directional, right? You could direct it certain ways. Is that true?
Actually, to generate a standing wave, the direction is not important at all.
Okay.
Yeah, because all it does is oscillating the water. For example, that we always remember that in high school or whatever, that when the army marching through the bridge, when the frequency matched the bridge, the intrinsic resonance, and the bridge started waving a lot and eventually collapse.
Yeah.
That's the exact same technology about this by when you put it on a short pulse mode. So on a short pulse mode, there's a whoop, and you stop, and then you on, off. That's a short pulse. So under this kind of mode, that it doesn't generate much of a linear flow at all. So that means that the direction of the pump is not important because no matter you put it this way, that way, it doesn't make any difference. You just like a resonance. Basically it's like it just generate a resonance to the frequency to match whatever the tank's frequency is, the water volume, the water, the rock, every tank is different. That's why you have to dial it in. So when the frequency is matched, the water starts to rock. that actually is the same idea about under the Tunzi's wave maker, the wave box. Remember the old big old wave box?
Yep.
So the back then when this thing it doesn't exist, and we only we were stuck with this expensive Tunzi stuff. Wave box is something that everybody going after for SPS at the time. I remember that getting a wave box, a $500 a wave box. The wave box allow you to generate this kind of washing machine, up and down, this kind of movement. So it turns out, well, I got asked this. People ask me this question: is there any reason to buy a wave box today? I can tell you, absolutely not. There is the box there just to get the pattern. Seriously, there's nothing significant about that box. It's all about a giant, very powerful pump. Actually, if you look inside a wave box, that pump is huge.
Oh, it is.
Inside the box, yeah. A very powerful pump running on a short pulse mode. That's all you need.
You don't need a box.
No, you don't need a box. The box, but they patent the box. The box is for patent purpose.
It also takes up a lot of room, I think, in the tank, right?
Exactly.
And you don't need a button, more corners in the tank.
Yep. You don't need that. Because that I was told, yeah, you want the this kind of washing machine up and down movement, you need a wave box. I said, no, you don't. Look at me, I can reproduce that using like a $100 pump. As long as it's big enough, allow you to fine tune the frequency. Have to be DC though, AC doesn't work because the pulsing frequency has to be in less than a second. I think it's between 0.1 second to 1 second, this kind of range. So because that every tank is different, your rockscape is different, your volume is different, well, the dimension is different, that frequency actually is different. That's why that you need to adjust the frequency and then to watch the water start to move.
So you're doing 1 second pulses?
No, actually, I don't know what is the exact pulse is there. You just have to, I have to rotate the dial a little bit and wait for it and look at the tank and rotate a little bit, wait for it and look at the tank so to see the wave start to degenerate and then the wave start to die down when you continue to move the dial. So you never know. There is no set number for that because every tank is different. That frequency is different.
Are you basically pointing one J-bow at the other?
No. Sorry, I didn't get your question.
So are you using two J-bows like basically facing one another? Is that how you're creating that setting wave?
Just one.
Just one.
Just one. Actually, you bring up a very interesting question about the push and pull. That actually effectively reduce your flow rate by 50%. When you have two pumps, facing each other. The reason about the idea about push and pull is that one pump is pushing, the other pump supposed to be pull, but this thing does not run reverse. And that thing basically one pump is push, the other one stop. And what happened is that you're using twice the energy, but generate half the flow rate, especially two pumps were facing each other. So you cancel each other out. I've been looking at all this kind of the programming for pump. It turns out all this fancy talk, it doesn't matter. All you want to do is just a big enough pump and allow a DC pump allow you to control the pulse frequency. You be patient, sit there and watch it adjust a little bit and watch the water movement. It's very critical to do that because this kind of pump can rock the water out of the tank.
Yeah, you don't want a rimless tank for that sort of scenario.
Actually, regardless rimless or not, I'm talking about literally generating enough wave that water to splash out of the tank. So you have to go there and you have to sit in front of a tank, adjust a little bit and watch it and give it maybe like 30 seconds, something like that, when the waveform start to develop, because there's always a delay when the pump frequency change versus the tanks, the matching, how you match the tanks intrinsic frequency. So it happens that if you just want to plug it in, set to maximum power, set the frequency, go to lunch, maybe you come back, half the water is on your floor. So when you
that's
try
happened
to
to
dial
me.
in, Yeah, try to dial in a standing wave. Got to be patient, and you have to sit right in front of your tank and watch it. So you can generate too much wave.
So are you saying that you basically crank it up and then you're playing with the frequency on the
Yes,
J-bow?
yes.
Okay, you crank it up, playing with the
You
frequency.
want the maximum power, and then you play with the frequency.
So Reef Exotico by Luis Aceves is asking, always wondered if a standing wave has an effect on integrity of the seals on an aquarium. Has that ever happened to you there, Dong, in terms of impacting the seams?
That's a very good question. Actually, this question was asked back 20 years ago when Dong Zou marketing the wave box. That's one of the people's concern. The answer is yes and no. The yes is that with that much of water sloshing around, think about it, there's approximately about 8 pounds per gallon of water. So a 100-gallon tank is what? 800 gallons of water, right? 800 pounds. 800 pounds of thing moving up and down. It definitely stress out the seam of the tank.
So that makes me worried there, Dong. That worries me.
Yes. But in reality, I haven't seen one.
It hasn't happened to you?
No, not at all.
But you've just got frag tanks, you know. That's
no. Actually, that I
you got
also
a big
have,
frag tank.
Got this one.
Yeah.
This one is a 125. It's a regular tank. You got two gigantic J-bow. That thing, and they're one on each end, but they're not facing each other. They're on an angle, so they don't cancel each other out. So you got standing wave there, but I don't have a really strong standing wave in this tank. The reason is that for some bizarre reason, all these commercial tanks, the overflow box, the position, the water volume the water surface is so high. So if I have a big wave and the water all come out from the tank, so the bottom line is that regardless you have a frag tank or a regular tank, I never see one that actually fell because of the wave maker. But I do see many of them fell because of the crappy silicon work, and as well as that poor design, that kind of thing. The stand is really critical to holding the tank. When you have a standing wave, think about it. If you have 1,000 pounds of water sloshing inside here, and your stand is not solid, and then your whole aquarium basically is dancing around. So that is not.
I'm gonna say something. I had a really bad experience with a low boy frag tank.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Do not
I heard so many
attempt to try this with a low boy frag tank, because I had one for maybe a year, and the seam started to leak on me, and I had a brand new low boy that I just took and went to the dump. I was like, I didn't want to sell it to anybody. I was like, I couldn't in good conscience sell, this brand new frag tank, because I knew the other one I had not that long, in use, started leaking. So
the question about the low boy is that it actually is a reptile tank.
Yeah.
But for some reason,
they also have saltwater like version of it, like a reef.
They shouldn't.
I know they shouldn't. I got suckered into that. Thanks to a couple folks here for super chats. Subsurface UK, thank you so much. ReefBum rules. I could write an essay on how your chats have inspired, influenced, and helped me on my passion recently. Thank you so much. And Donald Smith, very generous super chat. Thank you so much. Love all your live streams. Appreciate you folks there, really do. Yeah, that's always interesting in terms of trying to find that fine balance. Now, Don, do you think so you're talking about doing that for torch corals and LPS? How I've been to your place, I've seen all your tanks and all your SPS and stuff like that. You got washing machine effect and everything.
It's not as bad as the LPS tank. Yes, yeah, washing machine and everything. There's a reason for that. When we talk about SPS coral, so SPS coral in the ocean have a gigantic amount of water movement. So the water movement is so huge that we cannot reproduce in our tank. unless you want your tank just falling apart in 30 minutes. So, but then the water movement in the ocean is quite different than what we can generate inside our aquarium. The reason for that is that to the water movement across the SPS coral from on the reef normally is linear, like on the side, like this.
Yeah.
Okay, and most of the time it's one direction for a long time. It's not like this. No, it's like hours of this and hours and then that direction, that kind of thing. Sometimes that it just maybe months one direction. So this kind of strong linear flow actually bring food to the coral, and also even more critical is to carry out the waste that coral generated. So coral poop and pee in the same place. So your basic excrete is it uptake the nutrients through the skin and as well as its mouth. It also excrete their waste through the skin. So that's, and of course that their mouth also poop as well. So that you need the strong water movement to carry out the waste. And another important thing is that there is something called the boundary layer. That means that there's a very microscopic thin layer of water that is stagnant on the surface of a coral. So the stronger the stronger the water movement, that layer is thinner. When the boundary layer is thinner, allow coral to basically like breathing, much like take in oxygen, take in the nutrient, expel waste much more effectively. So that means that water movement is really important. What happened in our tank, we cannot duplicate what the ocean can give to the coral this way. Okay, we cannot. But what we can do is do this. So instead of washing them sideways, we wash them up and down. That's what the standing wave become important. Yes. So in that case, that because to generate standing wave is very easy in our tank. Now with our triple power head, a strong power head, we can do that. That's why that the washing machine is important for the coral health. So because that we cannot provide them this way, we provide them this way.
How do you know that you've achieved the optimal standing wave? You know, what are you looking for, Dong, when you're trying to do that?
Okay, that's an absolutely interesting question, because we don't know. I don't know.
You just know. You're right.
No, the thing is that the rule of thumb for me is that the water does not come out of the tank.
So you're trying to generate as much washing machine effect without going over the side.
Yes.
Okay.
And sometimes that is the one way I do it is that when I achieve something a nice wave, but it's not going to getting over the rim. But next morning I will come down here, look at the floor. So the thing sometimes that the micro bubble, the little bit thing will spill out from the side of the rim and end up on the floor. Your floor will have a little bit speckles of water there. Then I dial it down a little bit. Then the next morning I come down, all dry, perfect. Keep it that way.
Matt Carlton is asking, where do you recommend placement of the power heads?
Okay, very good question. So my suggestion is to put the power head as high as possible without it sucking in air.
Okay.
So that is the reason for that is that first of all, the way I do aquascape, you can see the tank is the coral only go to half the tank. There's plenty of room on top. So that is very important for SPS colonies. The reason for that is that if the power head is blasting directly on the coral, you can kill the SPS. So what you can do is that you put your hand inside your tank.
I'm showing video of the you gave me of your tanks there, Dong. So.
Okay, so you can put your hand next to your prized SPS coral and to try to feel the water flow. You shouldn't feel a strong push at that location, but you do feel that water going gently around your coral, but not pushing it.
I always
And
I
the
always
other-
say
yeah.
like for SPS and stuff like that, you want to see polyps undulating pretty much in every part of the tank, correct?
Sorry.
What I always tell people in terms of whether question, do they have enough flow for an SPS tank? I always say that if you got SPS all around different parts of the tank, you want to see the polyps in those SPS moving
Yes.
in every part of the tank.
Yep.
Yep.
So also you can see if the polyp was leaning sideways, that probably too much flow. So
You don't want to pin the polyps.
no, you do not want to pin the polyp. That's exactly the word. You don't want to pin them down. And also you can see them that the standing wave also let your polyp to wave nicely. So that's another thing. Well, other than that, so another reason to leave that much room on top is for my fish. So the fish can dash around when they're happy, so without running into some rock or something like that. But on my other tank, the one that the 200 gallon, I have no choice but let them to fill the tank up.
Well, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, there's a reason for that. That 200 gallon deep dimension tank, very difficult to reach into it. I'm too short.
You need to get a ladder.
I can do. Well, I get a ladder, but then the thing is that it has a hood. I can't get inside.
Yeah.
So
gotta get rid of the hood.
Want to grow. Well,
maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Reefer Boy is asking, does the pulse have to go from 100% to 0%, or could it go from 10% to 100%? So I guess do your J-boat pumps have like some sort of you're making adjustments? What do you estimate is the ramp low to high?
Actually, that's a very, very good question. On the J-boat pump, the short pulse is 0 to 100. There's no other option. So there is another option they call the sine wave kind of mode. They can do a slow ramp up, slow ramp down, that kind of thing. That doesn't generate the standing wave effectively. You need the on off, that kind of that feature. So on all the J-bow pump, they're on W1, that's the mode. W1 is the one. Basically, the propeller spin, stop, spin, stop. So if the propeller still spinning at 10%, it does not generate a nice standing wave, because that some of the J-bow pump, they do have that function. And I also have other brands, wave maker, they have that function that you can ramp from like minimum like 10 to 20% to 100% and always drop back, then drop back to 10 to 20%, never stop, never come to a full stop. But those things, it just doesn't generate a standing wave really nicely. I don't think that because my theory is that the program for ramping time, it takes time.
Okay.
So that actually makes the interval, the on-off interval, much longer. So if you want 0.2, for example, if you want 0.2 second pulse, you really need to 0.2 second, boom, on, off, on, off. So the on-off function actually is very important to generate the standing wave. And there's some people ask me that does that hurt the power head? I never see any difference, seriously. And plus that this thing is dirt cheap.
What's a J-boat pump cost these days?
This $79.
$79?
Yeah, $79. That's regular price, not even on sale. Sometimes on sale, $50-something.
What's the model of that J-boat?
That is OW50. But that's an older one. And those things is they call the whatever. Well, they have all these model name, but then look for the largest one.
The largest one.
So, the largest one. The model name keep changing, but
so anything that's pushing like 4,000 to 5,000 gallons per hour.
Yeah, for 100 gallon tank, for 120, 150.
What?
So on a smaller tank, the smaller wave maker, the smaller J-bow just work just fine.
What about?
You just buy. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, so You mentioned in terms of placement, you like to have the pumps at the near the top, like just
Yep.
as far enough down so it's not sucking air.
Hmm.
Um, what about on the bottom of the tank? If you've got detritus that seems to be settling in a few different spots, can you put a power head pump down near the bottom to try to like move that detritus out of there to get that stuff from settling, or will the standing wave that you create do that itself?
Uh, Very good question. Yes, the answer is yes and no. Yes is that you can always put a small power head, provided you have a bare bottom, and to sweep the bottom. I actually,
Do you like to
I
pulse the bottom if you're trying to like same deal in terms of the pulsing, trying to create a standing wave? You have one at the bottom of the tank.
actually the way I try is that I try this using a smaller pump at the bottom on my bare bottom tank, the frag tank, to sweep the bottom. But then I found out it's not necessary. The big power head on top, it will just sweep the bottom by itself because you put it pretty high on top. The water movement just kick down and going back,
Right. So it's
and
circulating.
then you're circulating, and then all your gum is all go to one corner. Then I use a turkey baster, suck it up, and done.
So right, if you're getting some dead spots in your tank and what have you, then it probably makes sense to add another recirculating pump, whatever that's going to be. The Jabo is a good cheap option, but you don't necessarily have to put it on the bottom to blast the bottom.
No, you don't have to.
Yeah,
And also another thing is that if you have blenny or wrasse, I think that blasting the bottom probably they don't
not
like
good.
it. Yeah, they're not good. Because your fish do need some area that doesn't have very strong flow to sleep. So
Paul is Great Bearded Reef is saying that Champion Lighting Supply carries the J-Bow pumps. Yep. Um, you mentioned sand, right?
yeah.
Washing
Mhm.
machine effect with a sand bed. Harder?
Washing machine actually is sand friendly.
Okay.
If you have just a rocking motion, uh, the sand stay put, no problem at all. It's the linear sideways motion that sweep the sand around. But if you have the water was rocking like this, the sand stay put, no problem at all.
Do you like the larger grain sand versus smaller grain sand? I mean, you must, right? Because that smaller grain sand is going to be going all over the place.
Yes, I really don't like the smaller grain sand. Sand. Actually, all these things are crushed coral. Well, I know that crushed coral get a really bad rap. Maybe like 15 years ago, starting 15 years ago, people say, "Oh, crushed coral is so horrible." But no, it's not. It's not really horrible. There's not much different than sand. So sand traps a lot of dirt as well as the crushed coral. But sand goes everywhere. Crushed coral stay put. And another thing is that about the sugar fine sand, there's another problem is that they get into your power head.
Yeah.
That actually is a really bad thing. What happened is that most of your power head, the propeller, let me see if I can. It's so good to have a prop, right?
Yeah.
So that's your propeller. And the propeller, the rotor itself, this I haven't cleaned it, so it's kind of dirty. That algae. So this piece of magnet actually has a very thin layer of coating, of Teflon coating. Basic protect this magnet from saltwater
Yep.
corrosion. You have a grain of sand, and when this thing is inside the chamber, there's a ceramic shoes on one end and the ceramic shoes on the other end. So basically, when it rotates, the magnet never touch the wall. This part does not touch the internal chamber of the power head.
Yep.
That way, that prevent it to get scored. But if you have a sugar fine sand trapped inside, you're going to cut up the protective layer. And very soon, this protective layer is gone, and you end up with a magnet that leaching heavy metal in your tank. So
That's
and
not
also
good.
they will seize up. Yeah, that's not good. So that's why very fine sand, not my favorite. So, but detritus is different story. Detritus normally is soft, so they're mushy. Yeah, they get into it, so what? It doesn't do much damage. But the little sand is really bad. There's another thing that I want to bring up is that remember the good old day when we have the Southdown sand from Home Depot?
Who brought that up? Rich Colombo brought that up. Yes.
Yeah, the Southdown sand actually is true
No,
reef
I'm
sand.
sorry. Great Barrier Reef. Paul brought that up. I'm sorry.
So those sand actually is calcium carbonate based. They are much sulfur sand. So that means that even you get sucked into your propeller, it will do less damage to the coating. But these days, most of the sand, regarding the cell as they are sold as live sand or whatever, many of the sand actually is a silica-based sand. If you look underneath a microscope, they are like sharp piece of quartz. They're really sharp and hard. When those sand get into this sand, they will just cut this thing up. They also that I've seen that wrasse, where some people's wrasse dive into this sand and all scratch up when they come out. So then at these days that there's so much things are different than like 15 years ago. And these days, actually one time I was watching your live stream talking about dry rock.
Oh, so I love dry rock.
Yeah, you love dry rock, and some people really love dry rock to death. There's a reason for that, because that not all the dry rock are created equally. Even from the
stuff
company,
that I have sucks.
Yes, I've seen dry rock absolutely horrible.
I've got the Carib Sea Life Rock, and I'm just about ready to chuck. I'm just about ready to chuck it out the window. I've had it for 2 years, and I'm like, why am I just torturing myself?
There's some of the dry rock sold these days actually are man-made. That is most awful, horrible thing to this hobby. That man-made rock. Wait, but they sell by pounds. They're really dense and heavy.
It's because it's cement.
Good money. Cement. And then what's in the cement? Phosphate.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I've got I've had cyano, in this frickin' tank, and I think you and I have talked about my issue, and I'm about ready to. So I have the cryptic sump, and I've got 100 pounds of Haitian live rock in the cryptic sump, and I've got the 100 pounds of the Carib Sea life rock in one of my display tanks, and I'm pretty much about ready to swap it out.
Yeah, just swap it out. And all this dry rock, especially man-made one, I've seen even more horrible story about those kinds of things. Actually, not story, actual cases. So there's a customer who bought about 80 pounds, something like that. Real reef rock. Good name. Perfect. Beautiful. They're purple too. Of course, they are painted purple. And those kind of things, not only nothing grow on it, they have started having this, they break down. They have this blacks, they melt down, and then the black powder thing coming out from that. Those are save the environment, right? No, those are not the good way to do it. So the best way to get rock is go to your fellow reefer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seasoned.
Get some real stuff.
Yeah.
And you do not have to get the ocean one. Actually, when I'm ranking all the rock to get, the top tier rock I will get is from other reefers tank, which running for years. That's the number one, the best rock to get. If you don't have that, ocean live rock is the next. Well, of course, you have to prepare to battle all these mantis shrimp and all this kind of critter. But sometimes some of remember the old Tampa Bay live rock? It come with the beautiful peacock mantis shrimp.
Yeah. I've got some KP Aquatics live rock that came from the Keys, and it did come with the mantis shrimp.
If you're lucky, you get a pretty one. Wow,
it came with two.
Yeah. Oh wow!
I flushed one out. I flushed one out with a high salinity dip.
Oh.
I did not kill it. I brought it to my local fish store, and then there was another one when I put the rock in the tank that made it through the high salinity dip, and luckily it was in a rock on the top of the reef, and I just pulled the rock out and was able to get him out. And again, I brought him to my local fish store. But
That's good.
yeah,
So
but
that's the second tier.
I think
Is the ocean rock.
yeah, I think I think what I'm hearing, Dong, is that the more porosity, the better. The better, because more surface area for bacteria to colonize. So you know, the cement, solid, dry, dead rock is not conducive for that stuff, and it's probably leaching stuff. Whereas you know, somebody in the chat was at who was it? Chappie was asking about why I didn't use Marco Rock, and you know, I said that probably would have been the smarter move, because Marco Rock at least has got some porosity. There's some holes in it and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I have always been a advocate. If you can get some rock from a fellow hobbyist, or if you can get it from Tampa Bay Saltwater, or get it from KP Aquatics, you don't have to like have the whole tank filled up with it. But I think 20%, 30% to kind of seed the tank with the bacteria is key. You know, and another thing you talked about is the, you know, the crushed coral as a substrate. You know, again, that gives more surface area for bacteria to colonize, which is
Yes.
which is a good thing. You know, I've also seen people use reborn media as as a substrate. I guess the one issue with both of those scenarios is that you know, when you get detritus building up in crushed coral or reborn media as a substrate, how do you manage that? How do you manage your crushed coral? Is that something, you have some cleanup critters in there doing that? Are you doing any siphoning? I don't see you doing any siphoning, Dong.
No, I don't. So here's the thing. The crushed coral get a bad rap is like back 15 years ago, something like that. One of the reasons that crushed coral can accumulate all this kind of gunk back then is because back then people are not using enough flow.
So you got to blast it.
Oh no, just the regular flow that we have today is sufficient to keep the crushed coral clean. The probably as clean as your other the reef sand. So because back then we don't have that, well, probably only a fraction of the flow we have in our tank these days, and because at that time these things are so expensive, there are not many options, and people are still using a lot of AC power head, like what's that, MaxiJet.
Yeah.
So with those kind of things, yeah, you don't have enough flow, and the crushed coral start to accumulate all kind of gunk in it. But today, I never need to siphon this. I never need to clean this. Always keep clean, because there's sufficient amount of flow to bring everything out. There's not much difference there.
Do you have a what kind of cleanup crew do you have in your tanks? I can't recall. Do you have do you have
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
That's another very good question about, I get asked all the time. My cleanup crew only composed of two things: turbo snail and nightrise snail. That's it. No hermit crab, no other crab, nothing else. Just two types of snails.
Nasaria?
The reason
Did you say Nasaria snails?
No Nasaria snail, just a regular turbo snail. The Astra snail. That's
Astra
what they
snail,
call.
okay.
Yeah, Astra snail. Okay. So that is the other one is called the nightrise snail, if I pronounce it correctly. Basically, it's black with some kind of pattern at the back.
Okay.
So those kind of snail, I started using those kind of snail because they live a lot longer. That's one thing. The other thing is that they can ride themselves up.
Yes.
Yeah, there's another benefit of those kind of snail. Yeah, the third benefit is that it suck on the glass really strong. So my rats has no way to peel them off. I saw them attacking them, there's no way. But for a turbo snail, the rats can just flip it up, just knock it off the glass and flip it upside down and eat it. But then for the nightrise snail, I saw them try. The thing is so strong.
Banging at it, huh?
That's the thing. But another cleanup crew, which is not intentionally put in there, is all these little tiny starfish. Yeah, those starfish.
What do you call them?
Astrorina
stars. Yeah.
Astrorina starfish. Some people said they're bad. Some people said they're good.
Do you think some eat coral?
Both are right. Both opinions are correct. Some of them does eat coral. Some of them does not, and actually quite easy to tell. Okay, they're I'm just based on my experience now, so there's no scientific proof. Is that what I found out is that if you look at this tiny starfish, if they have orange and red dot on the back, probably it's pretty bad.
Orange and
But
red
if
dot.
yeah, the colorful, the orange and red dot, they look exactly like the other, the Aschurina starfish. The good one are black and white. So if you see one that with the red orange dot, I yank them out. Always do that. I just yank them out. The black and white one, they're always good. They're perfectly fine. But sometimes you find them on dead coral. It's not because they kill the coral. It's because the coral is dying. They go to clean it up.
Yeah.
And that's the yeah.
Yeah.
So and also they reproduce inside the tank. There's no effort for me. They just always have that many, and some of the wrasse actually eat them. So yeah, that's as simple as that. My cleanup crew is ultra simple. I don't have any crab in there because that all your hermit crab, all that kind of thing, all they do is eat your snail. After they they take their shell, they eat the snail as food as well, and then you end up have to replace your snail all the time. So by removing all the crabs, and yeah, the snails are safe and they do their job, and the, many crab basically does nothing at all. Seriously.
I've stopped adding. I haven't had hermits in my reef tanks in a long time myself. Yeah.
So then some people said that the hermit crab will clean up the leftover, like the fish pellet, that kind of thing on the ground. You don't need them to do that job. There's something called clownfish. I have clownfish on every tank. They clean up every single thing, that edible stuff on the substrate. Any flakes or any pellet that drop down the substrate, they all clean it up.
Clownfish still?
Another thing, oh, clownfish, that's my favorite.
I love clownfish.
That's why I have clownfish in my sump. So I have every sump has clownfish in there because people give me this clownfish. They're homeless. They lost their home. They have nowhere to go. They come here, then they give it to me. I drop them into the
that's
sump.
A very nice home now.
Oh yeah, they hamburger flying from the sky every day. Wow. So their job is to clean up all the food that fly over the overflow. So yeah, then they end up in the sump and they clean it up and they're perfectly good. So I don't need any cleanup crew down there. About the algae cleanup crew, so when you have bubble algae, whatever that kind of thing, a fox face, actually a fish is a much better cleanup crew for algae than anything else.
Yeah.
The reason for that is that if you have algae somewhere over there overflow, your emerald crab is not going to climb up to it. They cannot reach it.
And some emerald crabs could be a little evil.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One of my friends sent me a photo. the so-called emerald crab he bought was hugging one of his coral at night.
Yeah, you don't want to see that.
And then start eating that, eating the polyp off the coral. So yeah, that's why I'm saying. Well, shrimp is pretty fragile. That's why I don't keep shrimp as well. Well, shrimp, they don't live a long time. That's one thing. The second thing is that if I have wrasse on every tank, the wrasse will just take the shrimp out for a nice dinner.
Yeah. What bryopsis? What do you do for bryopsis?
I actually haven't encountered that for a while. So for those kind of algae that the fish does not eat, I just manually pull.
Yeah.
I do not use chemical. But here's the thing. Reef HD, the Fucro, has been, seems like everybody is like, okay,
fluconazole,
your tank. Fluconazole, yep. It actually is pretty bad for your tank. So rule of the thumb, if any chemical can kill algae, they also damage your coral. That's basically it. Because your coral has symbiosis algae inside. So anything can kill the outside, kill the inside. Vibrant. So
that was
it's not
bad
a
stuff.
Product. Yeah. Vibrant is algaecide, is a single chemical compound, is the algae fix. Diluted algae fix from like the aquarium pharmaceutical API. So those compounds not only kill your algae, also kill your coral, kill your symbiosis algae. So basically the idea is that anything can take care of the algae, also take care of the algae inside the coral. So fluconazole is antifungal reagent.
Right.
also have some antibacterial property. You can disrupt your the whole balance of your fungal and bacterial balance in the tank. For a matter of fact, we talk about lots of bacteria, and there's a fungus inside an established reef ecosystem actually plays critical roles. So in order to kill your little biopsies, you basically upset the balance of the one important member of the ecosystem, the fungus, and you are just basically just asking for trouble. And another thing is that talk about all this dosing. What I found is that the dosage on the Reef HD is bogus. Seriously, how did they come up with this kind? Yeah, how did they come up with this kind of thing? That's why, like Jason Fox says, I want to use a fraction of the dose.
10%.
Yeah, it still works. So of course, you have to buy more to treat your 100-gallon tank. You probably have to buy 2 bottles. So maybe they benefit from it. But where did they come up with this number? I don't think there's any. Yeah, I don't know, seriously. But that's something. It happened to be a lot of this medication for aquarium use. What exactly? Where did it come up with the dosage? I have serious no idea. Is there any research has been done? For example, let's talk about the dosage and one important thing. Well, now the hot topic is Cipro, right? Then, well, the funny thing is that where the Cipro dosage come from? That on online that see this, all this the full tank treatment of Cipro. I just keep wondering how exactly it just doesn't compute. Here's if you're interested, let me just do a very unscientific thing, rough calculation. So what I'm holding here is a 500 milligram pill.
Yep.
Of course, this is not Cipro. Cipro is not legal without prescription. This is vitamin C, but this is a 500 milligram pill. It's approximately the same size. So the human dosage of Cipro, there are 2 ways to dose Cipro to human when we have infection. One is by eating the pill, oral. The other one is by injection.
Yeah.
Go straight to the bloodstream. When you eat the pill, the Cipro basically still end up in your bloodstream, but with much less concentration. That's why that if you want to eat a pill, you need to eat 500 milligram of it for twice a day. So for average human being, if you do a IV, which means that a needle goes through the vein and inject the Cipro straight to your bloodstream, and it costs about 400 milligram for average human being. So here's the thing. How Cipro work in your bloodstream is basically is that you get to the bloodstream, the blood circulate all over the body, and then deliver to the target, and also that some of the bacteria in the blood, and they take care of that. But that's not important. But now here's an interesting thing. How many gallons of blood an average human has?
I have no idea.
1.2 to 1.5 gallon. That's it.
That's it.
So yeah, basically we only have 1 ml jugs of blood. So let's just say make it easy. For example, if like a teenager or maybe even younger, they only have 1 gallon of blood. Okay, the same dosage. That pill treats 1 gallon, and human blood is much cleaner in terms of bacterial content than what's in here. Okay, by a huge magnitude cleaner. Even that 500 milligram pill treat 1 human. You have to take this pill twice a day, 7 days. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this pill basically treat let's say 1 gallon of very clean blood, 1 gallon of very clean water. For 125 gallon tank, how many pills do you need? 125 gallon pill. Well, even though I'm saying that this is not totally scientific, okay? But we just talk about potency. It's just a rough estimate. So let's say in that case that very unscientifically, to treat this 125 gallon tank with Cipro, the minimum dosage should be 125 pill.
That's a lot of Cipro.
Even that probably is not enough, because that the amount of bacteria inside is humongous. And then how do you, well, maybe the even you put 125 pill put in there, and the Cipro probably doesn't even reach your target, reach your coral before you get all degraded and consume it.
By the bacteria.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also the Cipro kill, basically, they don't selectively kill. They don't, oh, you're the bad guy, I go come kill you. No, it doesn't. Oh, you're bacteria, okay, you're dead.
It's collateral damage is what you're saying.
It's collateral damage, it's wiping out everything. So the thing is, why people do the full tank treatment, it doesn't get a full tank crash, because they do so little, probably totally ineffective. But what I found out is that what happened, what people do after those Cipro, they clean the tank, they do water change.
Do water change, put activated carbon online.
Exactly. So now the tank looks better. Is that really the Cipro? Oh, of course, Cipro does have the aquabiomic also. Well, I think they show that after you treat it with antibiotic, your bacterial count drops. Absolutely. So, but it doesn't drop to zero. So that means that you do something, you kill off a bunch of bacteria, but does it really cure your coral, doing anything to your coral? May not be. If the Cipro may not even even reach the target. But now, here's the thing. You come to the other way is to do dipping.
Right.
This is antibiotic, it's not algaecide. It's not bug killer. It's not like you put a Cipro, you put your coral dip in the Cipro, all the bacteria die instantaneously. No, it doesn't. So how long are you going to dip? You dip 1 hour? Not enough. 2 hours? Not enough. Not going to work. So the best way, if you really, really want to do an antibiotic treatment, and you get your prescription from your doctor, whatever, to get your Cipro, the best way to do it is to set up a QT tank, like a 10-gallon QT tank. A 10-gallon QT tank drop 2 or 3 pills inside. And then twice a day, let that sick coral sitting there, and they have sufficient amount of time to expose to antibiotic. And also that when you do set up this QT tank, you make up new water. The new water has much less bacterial content inside, and you put a power filter there to make sure the water movement is there, to make sure the coral is getting its oxygen. So then you do this QT tank maybe once or twice a day for each for a bunch of pills go in there, and do it several days. That is how the antibiotic works. It's not like a bug killer. It's not like mosquito zapper.
What about I think people certainly. I mean, I understand that for like LPS corals, you can pull LPS corals out pretty easily and do the dips and all that sort of thing. But when you have like an SPS dominant tank, and people are seeing, it happened to me where you've got RTN or STN, and it's just kind of a gradual thing that's occurring over weeks, maybe months or something like that. That's what are your thoughts on that, Dong? In terms of if it's pretty much system wide and it's impossible to pull acros out. I see Reef Keepers also asking about what Dong thinks about oxalinic acid. So in terms of in-tank treatments, is that to you like to something that would be a last resort, a Hail Mary in terms of using Cipro or oxalinic acid?
Yes. So the first question is that how different is Cipro and oxalinic acid? So for a human, yes, maybe there's difference, but that's because when you use as a dose of antibiotic into human or like the pig, the cow, and well, the difference between Cipro and oxalinic acid is that Cipro has a fluorine atom attached to it. So then the difference in here, maybe to coral, maybe it's really not that of a difference there, because that when for a human, especially as oral drug or something like that, the drug have to go through so many obstacles inside the body. But right here, it just goes straight to the water. So the Cipro and oxalinic acid, in terms of how effective it is, maybe not much difference. But Cipro is a current drug, but oxalinic acid is already retired from human use. That is because of the resistance, all that kind of thing. So if to treat coral, it's much more ethical to use oxalinic acid than Cipro. That is to prevent the mutation of bacteria.
So
Actually,
like
cut
right,
down, not prevent. It's not prevent.
so it's,
Not preventable, but cut down.
right. So if
It's
you're
more
using
responsible.
Cipro in your tank and you're disposing of the water, then that potentially could be a health hazard.
Yes, theoretically yes, but the amount of them, well, depends on, well, if you have a private sewer, I will absolutely not do that. You're basically ruin your sewer system. Okay, don't do that. Yeah, seriously, don't do that. If you're on a town sewer, yeah, yeah. Well, it all depends on the amount, right? So you are not using a huge, tremendous amount every day. Of course, if you're zapping your system every week or every 2 weeks, like some of the vendor did, and they better have a better system to dispose of their wastewater if they frequently use antibiotic in their fish tank. But for home hobbyist, once in a blue moon you use some, I don't think is really not that a big impact. But in terms of ethically, well, there's a plenty of way to destroy the Cipro before you dispose of it. So you can just do a Google search on that to treat the wastewater with something, and then so you feel much more ethical when you dispose of this water. But the idea, just like you said, Cipro or oxalinic acid should be the last resort. And another thing is that, how do you know that all this RTN, STN is caused by bacteria?
Could be something else. Yeah.
Could be something
yeah.
else. Yeah, and very likely can be something else. For example, throughout, I've been keeping track of all these disasters happen to the people that I know, the people that, my customer, my friends, and the people who keep reef tanks. So I keep track of what the disaster they go through. Okay, so many times, but so far, first of all, that they're really impossible to diagnose that something is caused by bacteria. You can only suspect that it's caused by bacteria. It could be, but how do you actually prove it? Normally, no.
Yeah, I mean, you could use the aquabiomics test, but it does take a long time to get those results.
Well, but those results doesn't tell you actually have the pathogen causing the exact issue. For example, like Ben Johnson's tank, right? It's probably the horrible thing. So aquabiomics can give you a picture, but it's great that it's doing that. They're doing that. It's basically building up the fundamentals knowledge. We haven't get to the point be able to take action of it, but without this fundamental research, we will never reach the point that we can take action. That is what's so great about what aquabiomics does.
Yep.
So that's good. So we support them, and we should. But we also realize that it's not up to the point that we can take action on the result. So now here's the thing: is that if you send in a biomic test, there's a plan. There's several other companies do that too. So you're testing the water. So the thing is that it doesn't test the pathogen on your coral. It could be different, and most likely it's different. And if you look at the literature, I can tell you absolutely different.
So in terms of the coral pathogens in the water column versus the pathogens that are actually on the coral itself.
On the coral, yep. You're taking a snapshot on the water. Probably won't give you any idea about what's on the coral.
What so if they were able to do that, swab the coral.
Yes, that is the way to go.
Is that the way to go? I mean, if you swab a coral that's not looking great, I guess that's one way to go. But if you swab another coral that doesn't show any symptoms, will that also potentially show the pathogens, or no? You got to swab something that's showing symptoms.
I think you need to swab both.
Both, okay.
Yeah, and actually, the swabbing the coral is what people do when they study coral disease. They obtain the culture on the coral, not on the water. So that is the important thing. Is that, and another thing is that coral be able to manipulate the bacteria on their skin as well. It's published information. So the thing is that how do we, uh, how much do we know about bacteria on coral? Yes, the way I look at it, we are at the before dark age. So that's the is 1,000 years before the discovery of antibiotic. That is how much we know about the bacteria, the whole ecosystem. We know that there need to be a balance. There need to be some kind of composition, whatever say, but we don't know what exactly they are. We don't know what exactly everything does. And especially the bacterial's role can turn bad and can turn good depending on the environment. Bad bacteria turn bad, good bacteria turn bad all the time. So and and so that is something is so complicated. I think in this hobby we definitely jump the gun a little bit in terms of how we dealing with bacteria. And of course, on the other hand, by like the KFC dip, that's a different story. That's not jump the gun. That's basically wipe them out, that kind of thing.
Go nuclear.
Go nuclear. Of course, you go nuclear to your coral as well. And highly irresponsible way to do it. And the way I look at the recipe, it is beyond dark age. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. It's a, well, try to imagine you go to a doctor's office, the doctor just look at you and say, hey, you got an infection, man. And then prescribe you all the antibiotics, including bleach, throw at you. That is KFC dip.
Yeah.
Actually, at the beginning, I thought it was the
when you put it that way.
I said, wow, Kentucky Fried Chicken has come up with dip. Oh no, it's Kung Fu something. Oh, come on. Well, as a researcher, this is something I really don't want to see.
No.
This not heart-wrenchingly bad. Yes, basically it shows the irresponsibility to the environment. It's so, well, put in some kind of bomb word into it. It cannot describe the despise and anger about on this
You're
kind
almost
of
like
thing.
trying to sterilize the coral, you know? It's like, how do you do that?
No, it's not sterilizing.
I mean, it seems like it's like you're trying to like make it, you know, come in without any bacteria on it.
But the problem is that all that kind of thing, they don't kill all the coral, all the bacteria either. So they don't sterilize it either. They're basically throwing a lot of things for no good reason. That is the point. So they're throwing things in there for no good reason except causing all the mutation and harming all the environment.
Well, it's basically like, you know, it's like throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it, you know? I mean, that's kind of like the philosophy, and just see what sticks. Polo1126, thank you so much for that super chat. A little late to the show, but glad I got to see one of my favorite guests live. That would be you, Don. Keep up the great discussion, guys. Wife Price Reefer, yes, my favorite guest you have. Thanks. So
thank you.
People are giving kudos to Don. Oh, Greg Carroll had before we were talking about when you were doing the setting up like a little quarantine system and doing that high dosage dips of Cipro. He's just wondering, is that something that you have actually tried?
I actually tried on not Cipro, but amoxicillin.
Amoxicillin.
Yeah, because of amoxicillin, it actually have a dosage. Because that the fish amoxicillin it has been studied about is about 500 milligrams for about 5 gallons of water. And then you set in a QT and you do it once a day. And then because amoxicillin only lasts for less than 24 hours, and that's it in a saltwater environment. So you dose it every day. You do it 7 days in a little 5-gallon QT tank.
How different is amoxicillin versus Cipro?
Oh, quite different. Yeah. I think Cipro is more like the 50 caliber machine gun, and then amoxicillin is more like your MP40 machine little pistol.
Yeah.
Amoxicillin is not as bad. Ask Chris Mackley.
Yes.
So,
he's going to be on in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, the Cipro is a 50 caliber machine gun.
Yeah.
So then, here's the thing is that amoxicillin, if you use as a dip, I try it, doesn't work, doesn't do jack, nothing. No. I did a Cipro dip before when I can get Cipro from Chewy. Uh, the dip doesn't do anything. No difference. Um, but I didn't do the Cipro for the QT tank myself. That's why I'm saying that it should be done. That's as an antibiotic. But I did the amoxicillin thing. It does work. For matter of fact, actually I cannot walk over there, but I have a this little donut coral. Not a donut coral. It's kind of weird thing I got from a guy. Is try to imagine a hybrid between a bubble coral and a scoly.
Okay.
It's something strange. And that thing, he got it from a local fish store. And then he traded it into me. And that poor thing started to develop some kind of infection. Yeah, the brown jelly. But of course, brown jelly is not a disease. It's a symptom. So it has some kind of infection to it. So half of it is already brown jelly out. I took that little poor guy, put it in this 5-gallon tank with a little AquaClear to a 200 power filter on the back, several pieces of Lyra, and got amoxicillin treatment. Right now, how long ago that was? That at least is 1 year ago that I did that. At least. Right now, that little guy, even though you only have half of it, but that half is growing and started taking over the old skeleton.
Really?
Yeah, it works. It lives. So on amoxicillin, that is the result. But on the other hand, I try it on some of the torch. Well, the failure rate is higher than success rate. That is something that I can say. The failure rate is higher than success rate. That is what it is. But um, other than that, yeah, but I do think that the water change activated carbon after the treatment probably is more important because that when I'm doing amoxicillin, so the next day I do 50% water change in that little tank.
That's a lot.
50%.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And then to get rid of all the remaining, the decomposed amoxicillin, all the waste, all that kind of thing, and then fill it back up. So it could happen that it's like for 5-6 days, and then that coral is receiving a 50% water change every day. And then the antibiotic probably is preventing the bacteria to continue to eat up the coral. Because that here's the thing, how antibiotic works. Most of them, even though there's something called the bactericidal, bacteriostatic, all these buzzwords. But the thing is, the antibiotic is heavily depend on the host, your own immune system to fight off the bacteria. The antibiotic just hold the bacteria off. So don't let them multiply too fast or reduce their multiplication and sometimes kill some of it, but you allow the host, so your own immune system, to fight off the disease, fight off the rest of bacteria. So the thing is that that's another question about antibiotic treatment to a coral already have brown jelly disease. Maybe it's too late. Maybe the coral does not even have enough strength to struggle.
Yep.
So even you cut down the amount of bacterial load, the amount of bacteria that affecting the coral or irritating the coral, but the coral does not have enough strong immune system. The immune system is not strong enough to overcome the disease anymore. So that brings down to another thing is that 1 ounce prevention is worth 1 pound cure. So all this kind of thing always caused by something called a stress event. Something caused that.
Do you believe in using probiotics to prevent coral disease?
No, absolutely not.
No.
All the probiotic thing is highly questionable. First of all, and then when you dose probiotic, you have to understand the biome in here. For human, yeah, there's some probiotic works because we understand it. At least we have some understanding. This is a black box so far, even from a scientific literature. Anybody come up with a probiotic treatment to treat this? I was like, oh my God, you must be some kind of fortune teller. Or maybe you just want the money. Well, I think the more they just want the money. Seriously, that's the thing, is that you cannot treat unknown with something that you imagine in your head. So probiotic treatment for treating the reef tank, I don't buy it. Seriously, there is really just like there's no logic behind it. It's not logical. So when you don't understand something,
is there no scientific research literature to support the use of probiotics for corals?
I don't think so.
Yeah, okay.
It depends on yeah. So there's and another thing is that there may be some here and there dabbling on it, but now here comes a very important question. When we're looking at a human disease, treating humans, well, humans are pretty homogeneous. That means that you and I are pretty much genetically similar, right? So that means that when something work on you, maybe work on me, like the allergy pill. So if an allergy pill work on me, it very likely work on you. But corals are different. When you look at the coral research, you have to look at what species of coral they do the research on.
Yeah.
And different species coral can be dramatically different. Let me give you one example. Back then, they talk about alkalinity. So there's one school of thought is that the higher alkalinity, the faster the coral grows.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. There's a scientific paper about that. True. Absolutely. But they use, but there are also other papers. So here's the thing. Bird's nest, the higher the alkalinity, it does grow faster. From like 7, 9, 11, linear. So the high alkalinity, the bird's nest grow faster. But another study do on aquapora. After you pass 9, it plateaus. It no longer grow any better, any faster with higher alkalinity. When you pass 11, you start to drop. But the bird's nest still going.
Yeah.
So that tells you that different species of coral respond to different things differently. So many studies have to be, they are focused on certain species of coral. And either because that those species of coral are fast growers, so they can observe the result in a shorter period of time, make it a meaningful data, or they're easily accessible. So, or there's something that that is maybe that's the coral they can only only have at the time. So when we talk about different coral, even not talking about LPS versus SPS, just among SPS themselves, the difference is so big. So the thing is that, and even the bacterial content on the skin of my cat just walked by.
Yeah, no, your cat walked by. Yeah, it's been making some photobombing us.
So when you compare Monty versus Acro, LPS, Torch versus Acro, the difference is so humongous. So basically, that's the same. Is that even there's a research done on certain species coral, but those studies are not translatable. That means that they cannot be applied or may not be applied to the other coral. So that the bottom line is that we know so little about the science behind this thing. So little. Trace element, one example, what do they do? So little. So in this kind of situation, too many vendors, manufacturers jump the gun to sell your product, to make money, based on something that we don't even know. That is the biggest problem. But now down to one important thing is that before all this BS exists on the market for people to buy, somebody called ReefBum have a tank of the month on Reef Central before even the phosphate being tested, right? So that means that
I had a lot of stuff going on in that tank too.
Yeah. So the reef keeping is an art, more an art than a science so far, because we just don't have enough science.
Yeah,
understanding.
I agree.
Yeah,
and you would know.
We have to follow the art.
Just note, Todd from Champion Lighting Supply says there are no coral probiotics on the market.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's
I
good.
thought there were, but I guess there's stuff that people are using that are not meant for corals. Is that
Oh, actually, I think that some people was proposing the idea, but not actually materialized as a commercial product.
okay?
Probably that's where I got the impression from. Is that there's a plenty of YouTube, social media, or something pushing the idea about probiotic, maybe like stinking tofu, that kind of
Yeah.
thing that you into the tank. But uh, so then the bottom line is that we know so little. And by the way, and the thing is that even some major manufacturers were claiming their additive will promote good bacterial versus a bad bacterial. I think that claim is so tremendously big. And instead of the way I personally looking at it, and then their reputation just come from here down to the toilet. When a reputable company make those kind of claims, they seriously shouldn't.
Yeah.
There is really no scientific research to back them up. Seriously, that is, oh my goodness. Yeah, sorry, I need to plug in the power on the
Oh
phone. The
yeah.
phone.
Well, you know
Yeah,
what, Dong?
yeah,
I think we're gonna wrap. We got a lot of stuff that we didn't get the chance to talk about. So
yeah,
I think I'm gonna just have to have you back on again. You know, at some point
yeah, yeah,
down the
definitely.
road. But listen, Dong, I appreciate you, and I know everybody out there loves you being on the show. I mentioned this before, but anybody in the Northeast or who's ever in the Boston area, if you want to check out Dong's place, just I guess the best way to reach out to you is through the Boston Reefers Society
Yeah,
website, and yeah, connect with him there. And he's a sponsor of the club and has a sponsors forum. So just go to bostonreefers.org. Any last words there, Dong?
I think that the best way to enjoy this hobby is to keep it really simple, because the simplest have demonstrated over and over again throughout the year. How simple it is as simple as getting a inexpensive glass tank, go to your local club or anybody that you know have an established tank, get some live rock, and steal several buckets of his water. That's very important. Those the established water. So I actually give away water on daily basis.
I know you do. You got magic water.
Yeah, the people come here to bring the water. They're all free. So but just need to let me know if ahead of time, so I can I won't end up with 10 people show up with buckets. So
Then you got a problem.
yeah, so that then I can stagger out that the day that how much water give out. So get some established water, get some established live rock, get some easy aquaculture coral. Make sure you have uh, good equipment. Does not mean expensive equipment. Something that many people use that has good results, like those J-Bow thing, inexpensive. A good light, good water movement. Get some aquaculture easy coral. Sit back, relax, and do your water change every week if you can. As little as 10% water change will make a big difference there.
And
So
enjoy the hobby.
sit back, enjoy the whole hobby, and when you go online and listen to all the social media, enjoy it just for the enjoyment thing. When they start selling you stuff, you just turn the YouTube video off. So you do not need a lot of things to enjoy the hobby. Somebody tell you they sell you a magic elixir that allow your coral to grow 10% faster. Who cares? So the faster you drive, the more likely you will crash. That is this happen over and over again in this hobby. Take it slow. Don't spend too much money. Just keep it as simple as possible, and check your alkalinity once in a while. If you can do daily, it's perfectly fine. And don't get nailed down to the number. So basically, do your water change, sit back, relax, enjoy the call, enjoy the hobby. It's a hobby, so it's not a money pit. So that there's a plenty of people out there trying to sell you something. You just ignore them and do the very simple, basic way.
Keep it simple, folks. That's the way to
Keep
do
it simple.
That's
Keep
the way.
it simple.
Well, Dong,
Yeah.
man, listen, thanks again for being on the live stream. I always enjoy these chats. So
Thank you.
that'll do it for this show, folks. I also want to thank my sponsors one more time, Polo Reef. Make sure to check out Polo Reef's new YouTube video that drops this Friday. Imagine this, a 900-gallon glass drop-down aquarium that arrived broken, and now the second one finally made it home safely. It's finally in place. Watch as it's time to aquascape and fill it. Make sure to subscribe to their YouTube channel at Polo Reef for video drop notifications. Champion Lighting and Supply, besides being a place for hobbyists to purchase saltwater aquarium supplies online, Champion Lighting is also a wholesale distributor for many popular brands. If you own an aquarium store or an aquarium service company, contact Champion Lighting through their website at championlighting.com to set up a wholesale account. Todd and his crew will be at the Aquatic Expo in Charlotte, North Carolina this weekend. Stop by the booth and say hi if you're over there. GHL, personally, I'm all in and using GHL products. I've had a lot of luck using their dosers, the Proflux controller, Metra's lights, Cage Director. They produce high-quality German-engineered products. For more information or to purchase their stuff, you can visit aquariumcomputer.com/USA. I also sell their stuff on reefbum.com. Right now, there is a 15% sale on everything through May 31st. A big thank you to Paul, who is the moderator as well as the president of the Boston Reefers Society. Please join and support your local reefing clubs. They are so important to this hobby. Also want to let you know that all episodes of Rappin With ReefBum are available as podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Amazon. My next Rappin With ReefBum live stream will be on Tuesday, June 4th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My guest will be Chris Wood from Captivate Aquaculture. You can check out the full upcoming schedule of guests on reefbum.com under the YouTube section. Until next time, be safe and be well. Later.